What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today we're talking about a lot of Final Fantasy related news. YoshiP actually just put out an official post regarding feedback on the Baldesion Arsenal, and we're going to conclude with that. If you've already seen Little Ladies Day, if you've already known about the other news posts that we're going to be covering here, I'll be sure to include a link in the description or in the top pinned comment to the space where you can jump right to the Baldesion Arsenal feedback section. It is a lengthy post. We're going to go over it in depth and cover it, but I did want to make sure that you guys are aware of these other little things that have kind of been popping up over the last week and a half, and that way we don't miss anything. So we're going to start off and kick it off with Little Ladies Day, which is going on right now all the way up to March 13th, you guys. This is in Olda, so if you guys go to the link in the description of this video, if you want to find any of this information, you can easily go and do that. So anyway, that's Little Ladies Day. It's pretty simple. You can see kind of the rewards you're going to get. You get a little flower crown right here, as well as some other things. Typical holiday season. I'll leave it up to you guys if you feel like giving it a go. Then we also now have the Fat Cat mount, as well as the stacking boxes and new emotes. You can see the prices down here in the corner. I'll go ahead and zoom in so that way you can see them in the video themselves. 24 for the Fat Cat, or the mount Fatter Cat in this case. And that's an account-wide mount, meaning you get it, every character you have has it as well. So then everything else seems to be $5 and $2 for the various emotes that you can see here, as well as the authentic Eastern doll display furniture piece. Anyway, go and check that out if you're interested in spending some real-world money. Man, I just can't do it. All right, and then we've got the stage schedule listed for Tokyo. If you guys aren't aware, this is March 22nd, and the best news about it, if you're here in the United States, it's in the evening. Nobody needs to get up super early to be able to kind of take part in this. So you can see Friday, March 22nd is the keynote address. This is 6:30 to 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So just in this case for Central, just add a couple hours, so 8:30, kicking that off. We're going to be covering it and live reacting to it, which I'm really excited about. So anyway, there you go. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about some PvP adjustments here. You can see that with this, for the tanks, they've actually made all tanks HP the same. They looked at the win balance rate between them, and they decided that it was safe for them to go ahead and do that. So they've reduced the Warriors' HP and increased the Paladins' HP. So tanks, from a win-loss rate power balance perspective, they are all equal. Now, for healers, they've said, considering the balance between the three healer jobs, a recast time for some actions has been adjusted for scholars and astrologians, shortening the recast time for Eye for an Eye and make burst attacks more manageable like the current meta, while shortening the recast time of Lightspeed will allow more self-defense and higher MP efficiency, and that's for the healers there. And then for Monk, they've buffed Monk in respect to power balance between the other melee jobs by shortening the recast time for the Riddle of Fire and Earth. They might have become much more convenient both from an offensive and defensive perspectives, although Monk has had hard times in terms of mobility when falling back. We feel that these buffs are sufficient as a good countermeasure. So guys, season, it looks like 13 is starting with patch 4.57, which we're probably going to see that sometime in April. So if you're hopefully you're enjoying PvP, and hopefully we can see more PvP improvements in the coming months. All right. So let's talk about the Baldesion Arsenal here. So YoshiP writes this very lengthy post. You can see it here. We're going to dive into it, so kind of stick around. Again, the link in the description below for you guys if you want to go read it for yourselves as well. So he says, regarding Eureka Hydotus and the Baldesion Arsenal. Hello everyone, this is Final Fantasy XIV producer, director Yoshida here. It's been roughly 2 weeks since Eureka Hydotus was released, and I'd like to thank you all for your valuable feedback. As you may know, Eureka and the Baldesion Arsenal were created with the concept of breaking down Final Fantasy XIV's fundamental gameplay. As a result, following these releases and its final installment, we've received more feedback than usual from all over the world. Of those feedback posted on the forums, I noted that there is a big difference between North America, European, and Japanese players. The hotfix schedule for today, which just went out last night, I will introduce a number of adjustments to the Hydotus and the Baldesion Arsenal based off of your feedback. On this occasion, I'd like to take the opportunity to respond to some of the concerns raised and also explain our intent behind these changes. Please be warned that this post will run a little long, as it comes from myself as well as lead content designer Naka, and I apologize, I'm butchering his name. The Baldesion Arsenal post-clear story. This is from Yoshida. Firstly, regarding the feedback that the story unfolds upon clearing the Baldesion Arsenal. As I mentioned in early interviews and the announcements that I personally didn't see it as an additional story or ending, and greenlit the content in its current state. However, my words proved to be misleading to those who felt that there was a story, and for that I apologize. During the development of the team deliberated to great lengths, the scenes that followed the Baldesion Arsenal wouldn't be experienced by everyone, but only by those who make certain choice in regards to a character's question and then go on to complete the dungeon. If you choose differently, you would not see these scenes. However, no matter how you responded to the question, the Eureka story ends at that point. Those who've played through the story will know what you have to make a tough decision. In proceeding with the current spec, we believe that players would have come to terms with their decision and consequences, and no matter what players choose, that they would experience a clear ending before moving on to the Baldesion Arsenal. Based on this was my belief that the Eureka story concludes there. Rather than being a true ending or an epilogue, we sought to depict the events following the Baldesion Arsenal as a happy accident. This is because it's impossible to predict such an outcome when faced with the above-mentioned tough decision. And if the choice you made left an unpleasant aftertaste, then that was what we had intended. But regardless of our intentions, that is the way we implemented the content, and it has been subject of consideration and criticism, and we're taking it to heart. I will also endeavor to take greater care on how I explain things, so please accept my sincerest apologies. So then, we're going to call him Naka, a word from the lead producer here. Hello everyone, this is the lead producer, Naka. Thank you for your feedback and discussion. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the stress that you experienced as a result for the entry requirements for the Baldesion Arsenal. And I'd like to thank you all for observing good manners when enjoying Haidodos and the Baldesion Arsenal. The following is an explanation of our policy behind the changes in the content. Please take a moment to read through it. So they're easing the requirements for the etheric stabilizer. The etheric stabilizer was devised as a priority ticket for gaining entry to the Baldesion Arsenal, but it isn't seeing much use due to the difficulty in obtaining it. If it were too easy to obtain, it would have served as the intended function. But there is undeniably a problem with the current spec. In response, we've decided to ease the requirements for obtaining the item while preserving its purpose. This adjustment will be implemented in today's hotfix. Players will find the item considerably easier to obtain. The adjustment is intended to make it possible for players to enter the dungeon with a reasonable time investment, while alleviating the competition for the entry amidst random conditions. We'll keep an eye on things to make further changes if necessary. So increased rewards for the Fate Baldesion Arsenal Expedition Support. We've received a lot of feedback saying that the rewards for completing the Expedition Support is inadequate. In order to make it worthy of the time, we will increase the amount of Haidodos crystals rewarded. This adjustment will also be implemented in today's hotfix and will take further changes as required. So abandonment of the Fates, Baldesion Arsenal, Expedition Support, and I don't want to believe. We consider this to be one of the biggest problems in Haidodos, and we are hurrying to implement a solution. This problem came out as a result of an attempt to address an issue immediately before the patches were released, and we had observed that Omvi's knockback attack was preventing players from receiving entry rights, so we expanded the area of eligibility for the whole field. However, this made it possible for players to still receive entry rights without participating in the Fate to the end, and instead go and find the Aethereal node. Most of all, this solution was unfair to those tanks who stayed to keep the hate until Omvi's defeat. We'd like to apologize. In order to resolve the problem, we're considering the following adjustments. Please take note these are subject to change. Changes to the Fate I don't want to believe. Delay ethereal node spawning by a few minutes following Omni's defeat. Limit the granting of ethereal prime buff to the battle arena. Changes to the Fate Baldesion Arsenal Expedition Support. In line with the above, we make the following adjustments. Delay the ethereal node spawning by a few minutes following Omni's defeat. Have unstable nodes spawn first, following by unstable nodes. Having unstable nodes followed by, I think that might be a translation issue, a few minutes later. Limit the granting of ethereal prime buff to the battle arena. Though these adjustments we intended to prevent players from abandoning the Fates, however, as these changes must be implemented with care, we're following extensive testing, and it may take a little while before we can proceed with them. As a result, they won't go into today's live hotfix, but we aim to implement them as soon as possible, and we ask for your patience and understanding in the meantime. So reflecting on the Arsenal, and this is still Naka here, The Baldesion Arsenal was an extremely adventurous adventure, and we were driven by the strong desire to deliver an experience and enjoyment that players had never seen before in the battle content. And at the heart of the enjoyment is the restriction on resurrection, which introduced and highlighted scenes and tension as you play. This is how it all began. The inspiration for these were the games that I used to feverishly play, for instance Diablo 2 in its hardcore mode, and Wizardry on the Famicom, to name a couple. I feel that we succeeded in bringing that same enjoyment and sense of tension to our players in the Arsenal, but I also think that we succeeded in creating an enjoyable high difficulty raid dungeon for the largest ever number of participants seen in Final Fantasy XIV. Having said that, due to the aforementioned issues and the other things that we've learned through your feedback, we've caused our players a great deal of stress, and this is coming as something we deeply regret. We've been made to realize that there are many things that we can change and improve upon, and we're determined to correct all the major issues and take an experience with us, and we develop future content. My responsibility with the 14 team is to develop battle content that will be enjoyed by all our players. In this post, I've given the chance to say a few words in Eureka and the Arsenal, but I'd like to state my desire to create great content that applies across the board. In the future, should there be more issues like this arise, I promise to take your feedback to heart, communicate openly with you, and quickly take the necessary measures to improve things. Thank you for your continued support. So now Yoshi's back saying going forward. This is Final Fantasy Producing Director Yoshi again. As Naka stated above, the content in Eureka has been a challenge for the 14 team following on from the Diadem. The 14's base gameplay is very important to us, and in order to have many players as possible enjoy themselves, we take care not to introduce unnecessary stress to content. On the other hand, we also believe that there is a payoff to be had, a sense of accomplishment at the end of a sustained effort and heightened tension. This is a good kind of stress, and it's the driving concept behind such content in the Diadem and Eureka, which aim to break outside the 14 box. As a result, there may be situations like Hideouts where feedback diverges greatly depending on the region, and issues arise that are beyond our anticipation. We'll learn from these and strive to continue delivering new ways to play. With the 5.x series of patches, we are trying something new again, but in the meantime, we're continuing to make adjustments not only to Hideouts, but Eureka at large. Thank you for your continued support. I'll go ahead and like that. It'll be interesting to see how this ends up playing out in 5.0. Obviously, they've talked about it, some kind of form of Eureka or the Diadem coming back, some way to break the mold. I'm still personally hoping that we'll get to see some form of level sync, some form, some system that if you don't start participating in a day one, that you can still be able to play with your friends, at day 100 or, day 300 or whatever day it is now. Almost, it's been well over a year since Eureka has definitely launched for us. So, guys, that's a lot of information to kind of break down. It's really interesting to see. I think I love the zone designs of Eureka. They are some of the best. I love actually the content that they put in there. The biggest kind of drawback is they haven't given us a reason or told us why to go ahead and invest in Eureka. Because, yeah, you can go ahead and get, 400 gear, but, the expansion's just a couple of months away. So I have, with the fact I could go try to solo Eureka just so I could start to participate, or I could just wait until the next expansion and not worry about it. So if they were able to say like, hey, this content's going to carry over into, 5.0, that would be interesting. That would be something worthwhile. But in the meantime, I think I'm just going to keep leveling crafters and gatherers and go from there. I hope you guys are having fun with the Baldesion Arsenal. Hopefully you're enjoying Eureka Hideouts. The zones themselves are just insanely beautiful. So I really, hopefully we'll be able to come and spend some time in it at some point in the future. I'm still just waiting for that one simple quality of life change to make it worth the time, because I like to play with people and friends, and you can do that everywhere but there, unless you're, feeling like you're going to level solo, and I just don't appreciate that. So, guys, that's my thoughts. That's the information. Thank you so much for watching this very long Final Fantasy new break. Hopefully you're doing well, and I hope to talk to you guys again. My brain's like just trying to process all this information. Anyway, for Work To Game, my name is Brian. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey, it's me. It's been a while since I talked to you guys directly this way, but don't tell anybody. We've got even more epic content planned for this channel. The response has been incredible. We hope to see you. If you're new, hit subscribe, leave us a comment. I'd like to talk to you more about video games. I can't seem to speak my language. All right.